Thank you for joining us for 1 Million Cups. We have 1 Million Cups every Wednesday at 9 a.m. and it happens all over the country. So if you aren't here in Dallas, you can check out the chapter nearest to you. Before we get started, are there any first timers here? All right, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here today. 1 Million Cups won't happen and can't happen without the entrepreneur community showing up every Wednesday morning. So 1 Million Cups was started about 5 years ago by the Kauffman Foundation, and the whole purpose of 1 Million Cups is to bring entrepreneurs together to engage, to form a community in each place where there is a 1 Million Cups chapter. Here in the DFW area, there's about 5 chapters, so if you can't make it here, you can check out the other chapters in Frisco, Fort Worth, Irving, and Addison if you happen to be on that part of town Wednesday mornings. And the whole purpose is to have 1 million conversations over 1 million cups of coffee. So please help yourself to the coffee. We have plenty, and that's what it's here for. We also have a 1 Million Cups app. So if you're sitting there right now with your phone in your hand, go ahead and go to the Play Store or the Apple Store and download the 1 Million Cups app. Using the 1 Million Cups app lets us know who's here, so you can check in, and then after the presentations, you can leave the presenters feedback and also see who else from the community was here. It's a great way to make connections and also connect with the presenters and hopefully make those networking connections and get to meet some new people. So we have 2 presenters every week. And how it goes is our presenters get 6 minutes to pitch their idea, and then there's 15 minutes of Q&A. During Q&A, we'll pass the microphone around. So if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll make sure that mic gets to you, and then you can ask your question. We ask that you wait till the mic comes around so we can pick up your question on the video, because we do record all of the 1 Million Cup sessions. You can check out the videos of each presenter on the 1 Million Cups app as well as our YouTube channel. So, today's presenters are Neela and Break Bread, Break Borders. So we'll start with Isabel, and here in Dallas, Isabella will stand up and give her a round of applause and welcome her to the stage.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much. So I'm Bella, and I'm the founder of Neela. Neela is a company that focuses on helping vulnerable women find independence through economic empowerment. And the way we do so is really fun because we manufacture handbags. A little bit of background as to, oh wait a minute. Thank you to our sponsors and the presenters. Is this part of it? Okay. So the way we do so is actually really fun because we do manufacture handbags. A little bit of background as to how we got started almost a year ago. I am a local Dallas girl, but I did spend my last 2 years of high school in St. Louis. And the school I went to was actually run by South Africans. So my senior year of high school, I went on a volunteer trip with them and worked in a community center for a slum essentially of about 30,000 people outside of Johannesburg. And it was there that I met a woman who had a son in the program, and she told me that the biggest need in their community was jobs for the mothers, and that a lot of the problems in the community would be solved if these women just had job opportunities. So I went back a year later and we opened the Neela Studio. The Neela Studio trains, hires, and empowers single mothers from the community by paying a living wage, which is typically, it's hard to determine the cost of living, but it's typically local to minimum wage, so we pay higher than what's fair trade. And the reason I'm pitching today is we're actually changing our business model a little bit, and I want to get our new ideas into a room of people amongst different backgrounds to kind of hear your feedback on it. So here's how our old model went. We had 4 artisan partners that worked at Neela full-time in our studio. They were each earning a salary, and they worked a traditional 9 to 5. They were making the handbags like you see in the photos, making them themselves, shipping them to Dallas, and then I was selling them here direct to customer for $175 a piece. It was going great, but there were a couple of problems. The biggest one is having a physical space really limited where we could grow and expand, and it limited who we could hire and who we could empower. There were women applying to Neela who would have had to wake up at 4 a.m. just to get to work on time. And that doesn't meet our standard of wanting to help empower these women. So what I thought we could do is figure out a way to manufacture our product without any overhead and without a physical space at all. So I've actually been engineering a product that these women can make that doesn't require any electricity or water to make. And that way too, it can be made anywhere in the world. So it can be made with the artisans that we help in this community. We're also working with an international aid group called Disaster Relief to bring our projects to South Sudan. It's in the talks right now. So here's how the new model would go. We're still going to do handbags, of course, but we're going to make them in Dallas. We're still selling them direct to the customer, but they're going to be made to order. And the way we're able to do this is we're actually partnering with an organization called Poetic. Poetic works with girls locally, teens and early 20s who have been victims of human trafficking. And what Poetic does is they have a physical space where they provide holistic care to the girls in their program. It's 24-hour-a-day therapy and counseling services. They have a high school there as well. And they've partnered with us so that we can head up their economic development sector. So the girls will be able to earn a living wage while going through this program. And in terms of how Neela will work out, we won't have any overhead to do it. And also our bags are going to be made to order, which will lower our risk. So we're not doing 40 a month now. We're getting rid of our stock, which is really exciting. And of course, we will still be working in South Africa as well. Like I said, we're going to close down our studio and quit paying overhead over there. And we're going to send all of our artisans home and allow them to work from home full time. So they're going to make something much smaller. They're going to make like keychains essentially. And we're going to do those in larger quantities. So the artisans will be earning the same amount of money as they were before. They're just going to be paid per item they produce. And we've given them targets to hit to make sure they're still meeting their financial goals. And because we're going to have a higher quantity of keychains, we are going to wholesale them to retailers, which is a really exciting way to kind of get our name out there. It will be a bit of a hit on our profit margin compared to selling direct to customer, obviously. But speaking of profitability, we've actually set ourselves up in a way that we have really amazing margins. People ask me all the time if Neela's a not-for-profit, and I say absolutely not. We are totally profit-based. We are a for-profit, for-purpose brand. So we actually design our bags around the profit margins. Generally speaking, handbags tend to have the highest profit margin of any women's fashion or accessory item, and we design based on that. So real quick right here, you're going to see a traditional markup. What it means is a brand, which is going to be that little pink box in the middle, is going to go to an overseas manufacturer. The manufacturer is going to give them a quote. If it's $50, typically 1/3 is going to be materials, 2/3 is going to be overhead, and sadly none of that money, or most of that money, is not going to go to the workers actually making the products, because 94% of overseas manufacturers pay illegally low wages. What's going to happen then is that brand is going to mark that up twice over and only take home a 50% profit. The retailer is going to mark it up at least 2.5 times and sell it to the customer for $2.50. So it doesn't really work out for the brand, and it doesn't really work out for the manufacturer either. However, Neela is still able to manufacture at a very competitive cost because we don't have overhead. So we're also spending 1/3 on materials, but those 2/3, instead of going to overhead, are going straight into our artisans' pockets. And then that leaves us a lot of creative freedom to work with our margin there. So we can either invest more into manufacturing and do higher end products at a cheaper price, or we can keep a really big profit margin and reinvest those profits into the communities and the organizations that we work with. Obviously, making the keychains and wholesaling those is going to look a little bit more like the traditional model, but again, it's different because instead of having manufacturing overhead, we're paying our artisans directly. So we're really excited to be partnering with organizations that are willing to support us in both South Africa and Dallas, and we're very excited for the opportunity to get to reinvest in them. And I finished with a little bit of time, so if y'all want me to run through this again, I can. Okay, I'm kidding, don't worry.
All right, so we're going to open it up for questions from the audience. The first question that we always have is, what can the community do for you today?
Yeah, Yeah, so right now we're definitely looking for mentorship because we are changing our structures. We're looking to work with attorneys on changing some of our contracts with the employees. We're looking for retail partners to help us with the designs and what trends that they as buyers are going to want to see. Marketing experts, things like that.
Anyone else have a question or comment?
Hey there, my name's Michael. Thanks for telling your story today. It's
Hi,
great.
Michael.
A couple of things. I know Poetic. I'm involved with United Way, so I know it pretty well, and that's really great. I totally get how that's a good deal for both of y'all, so that's really cool. So it seems to me your market is a really crowded one. It's women's handbags and all that. So would you talk for a second, other than how you do things at a consumer level, how are you differentiating and what's your value proposition to make sure that you sell these more and greater and have it up into the right, sales chart for a long time?
Absolutely. There's a huge trend right now in retail and fashion for ethically made items. And there's a big gap in the market when it comes to luxury handbags, which is ridiculous. If you think an ethically made item, especially one that partners with an organization, there are a lot of organizations throughout and around Dallas and all throughout the country really that do have kind of retail and manufacturing partners that they work with for economic development. We're just different because of the type of product we do. We do handbags. We do them because no one else does them to the extent that we do. No one does luxury handbags like we do, which is crazy because luxury handbags, like I said, have the highest profit margin. So when you're thinking of wanting to turn a high profit so that you can reinvest into the organization you serve, you would think that that would be critical. I didn't actually set out to make a handbag company. I set out to make a different kind of company. And when I was a freshman in college, actually, my friends were trying to pressure me to spend $800 on a luxury handbag. I was like, for $800, it better feed someone who's hungry. And so I was like, well, let's give women the opportunity to have both. So let's give women the opportunity to have something that makes them really confident and feel good, but also have the opportunity to get an item that helps people. Right now, our market's been kind of all across the board.
I like the concept, it's really great. So can you tell us a bit about the history as far as what of your past sales have been?
Our past sales, we've done 2 rounds of production with our old model that we did in South Africa. We haven't done anything with that new model where I had the A and B product. The past sales with both of those, we've done 2 months of 40 bags each, and those have sold out almost overnight. The exciting thing with the second round is I got to sell to people I didn't know. So we're trying to really get to explore the market a little bit, and it would be on the friends and family round there. But yeah, it is pretty new in terms of sales and facts and figures.
It was a great presentation. My name is Nick. My question is for the old model and the new model, how long would it take to actually produce a handbag?
Yeah, so the turnaround time's a week if we're doing it here. So we couldn't do it with the old model because obviously it would take forever to ship. It's about 6 weeks. It's about 6 weeks shipping, but we can get it made at Poetic in a week and get it 3-day shipped to the customer. And we're able to keep the customer updated on that process so that they can kind of see the different steps it's in and know that the purchase they just made is directly impacting someone.
I've got a question. So what's the origin of the name, Neela?
So Neela means gift in the local language we work in South Africa, which is Swana. Yeah, we believe that empowered women are a gift to their families and their communities.
You touched on it a little bit. Can you go into your background a little bit? Can you go into your background and touch on it a little bit?
Yeah, so I went to South Africa when I was 18 on a volunteer trip. I was working in a community center when I met a woman tell me that her son was in this program and that they really needed jobs. I did a lot of research and discovered that the leading cause of extreme poverty tends to be unemployment in South Africa. And then we really wanted to make sure that we were able to empower single mothers in the community because they were demanding it, but there was a great need to help them find independence through economic structures. In South Africa, traditional weddings are really expensive, so a lot of people aren't married, which means that women tend to be very reliant on the men in their lives that are the fathers to their children. But the main problem there is when you see someone as a father, in their culture they're seen as needing to provide. In areas of extreme poverty, when that doesn't happen, then a lot of times it's faced with depression and there's a result of alcohol and domestic abuse. So we actually set up a company that's the kind of empowerment aspect that we do that I didn't touch on very much. But the women in our program actually run their own grassroots training programs on helping other women escape the cycle.
Any other questions? I've got another question for you. How are you marketing yourself? Where are you finding your clients?
Right now it's mostly online, and I'm really excited to be partnered with Poetic because a lot of charity donations do tend to go to trafficking victims in the US. So that's a new market that we're getting into. And then the organization we're partnering with too is also starting to get a lot of traction and a lot of publicity. They're doing a lot of pitch events themselves. So we'll be getting into their market as well.
Probably one more thing for you. Do you know about RevTech in Dallas, the retail restaurant accelerator?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Okay, well, because of your market, depending on what you need for mentors and investors and people who are really, really expert in the retail market, you might want to get to know RevTech. It might be a good place for you to participate in some form or fashion. Because, Dallas too, where we have such deep expertise in retail, certainly luxury retail.
Absolutely.
That's a place where you're going to find a concentration of people that might be valuable to the extent you need some of these other resources to really build this thing over time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's Bella, right?
Yeah.
Molly. Yeah, so kind of to touch off that, do you have a team around you, mentors, advisors that have been giving you maybe design or business advice? And how long have those been in place and who are you looking for?
Yeah, I do have, I've been calling them my emergency crisis team. So when something goes wrong, a team of attorneys and accountants who have been really helping me stay afloat. In terms of more creative and design and lasting plan, that's the mentors that we're looking for. So no, to answer your question. And that's, definitely what we're excited for.
How do you manage to operate the team abroad while you're here? I suppose there's someone that you trust that is the director managing everything on that side, but how did you go about even building that trust? It's really difficult to not be there full time and know that, the construction, the quality, and everything is going exactly as you want it before they ship it here.
It is a big challenge. I mean, there are books on managing, for major companies that work in the US for managing people remotely. There really aren't that many books for managing people remotely in the communities we work with. I did live in the community that we work with for about 3 months, and I know the needs of it pretty well, and I know the needs of our manufacturing end. There have definitely been some pretty intense problems with it, but with making these keychains from home, we're also partnering with another NGO that the women can go to once a week to turn in the items that they've finished. And have those quality checked and then pick up new raw materials. So yeah, finding people you trust is huge, but with the 4 women that we have full-time, I do have great relationships with and a lot of trust in. That's probably the thing I lucked out with the most.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
This is quick. Hi, good job. I like your shoes. That wasn't my question. But do you have a registered trademark for that name?
I do not.
Okay, I think someone has a registered trademark for it. I just did a quick Google check, so you may want to check that out.
Yeah, it is a pretty common name. In Hindu, I believe it means sapphire. And it's also a word that means gift in another language, so we do need to look into trademark laws for sure.
All right, well, thank you so much for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Yes, we're going to give you the 1 Million Cups tumbler. This is a new addition, so if you haven't had a 1 Million Cups tumbler before, you definitely want to sign in from now on because we'll be giving away tumblers periodically. Enjoy your tumbler. Do we have the, oh, yes, I'll take that. Could somebody grab the sign-in sheet for me? Let's do a giveaway. This is the halftime portion of the show. So if you want more coffee, go ahead and grab some coffee. And we want to thank our sponsors at this time as well. So Capital Factory and the Deck graciously partner with us, and they provide, Capital Factory provides the space for us. There you go. Capital Factory provides a space for us, and they also provided coffee for us this week. And we would also like to thank the Deck. They have partnered with us since the beginning when One Woman Cups first launched in Dallas. And I'd also like to welcome Delaney to the stage to say a few words about the Deck. Yay, Delaney!
Hey guys, my name is Delaney. I'm from the Deck. I'm excited all y'all are here. Just a quick little rundown on the Deck. We're a nonprofit here in Dallas dedicated to spurring on economic growth and innovation in our community by investing in the entrepreneurs in our community. So we do that through innovation hubs like this, community networking opportunities, mentorships, events, education, all that good stuff. So I'm excited to help y'all out with the Deck in any way. So if y'all have any questions, be sure to reach out to me. I won't be here after this 1 Million Cups, but if y'all want my information, talk to anybody from 1 Million Cups and they can give it to you so that way you can learn more about the Deck if you're interested. So, awesome.
And before you go too far, can you pick a number between 1 and 9, please?
5.
5 is Sean Carson. Sean, are you still around? All right, you won a 1 Million Cups tumbler. Thank you for being here today. What industry do you happen to be in, Sean?
I'm in commercial real estate. I'm a tenant broker, so I try to help companies find spaces. And also, actually, I'm working with a high-end beauty retail supply shop that also does accessories. They're geared towards African Americans and Hispanics, so I could definitely talk to you about getting in with them if you're interested.
Great, thank you so much, Sean. All right, I would also like to thank Michael K. Bruner. Michael has been providing photography and video services for a really long time for 1 Million Cups, and he's always running around taking pictures. Let's give a round of applause for Michael. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's move on with the show. We will now welcome our next presenter to the stage. All right. You got it. All right, we'll stand up and give Jin Ya a round of applause. I'm so sorry.
Thank you guys. Gosh, thank you so much for having me. My name is Jin Ya Fong. It's an honor to be in this space. So I heard that we were supposed to show slides, and honestly, I'm going to skateboard through this, and there's going to be like a test afterwards. No, just kidding. You're going to look at a bunch of pictures. I don't want to read slides to you because I'm going to do this. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'm just going to talk to you. Is that okay? Because I do much better if I just talk to you instead of reading a bunch of slides. So again, hi, my name is Jin Ya Wang, and I am the founder of Break Bread, Break Borders. I'm a descendant of refugees from China, and I grew up in Taipei, Taiwan. I came to the States because my dad had lost his job, and my aunt and uncle were starting a Chinese version of McDonald's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I immigrated, I came here. We came here to find bigger and better opportunities. And so my parents actually bought one of the franchises, and it ended up being about 16 locations in the Southwest, and my parents purchased the franchise here in Dallas. And so we moved to Dallas for this restaurant, and my mom was the chef at the restaurant. And because of understanding language is a challenge, she was very mindful of hiring immigrants, refugees, and migrants to come and work in our kitchen and train them to give them job skills and, send them on to bigger and better opportunities. So when she passed away from cancer, I really struggled because as a social practice artist, I really wanted to do something that would be able to honor her legacy. And so I thought, why not start something that marries the love for my mom and the love we have for food and the culture, and put it together and see what happens. And so that's how Break Bread, Break Borders was born. And initially, I wanted to run this as, a community dinner, as an artist, thinking like, okay, this is what's, people are going to come in and have conversations, right? Well, we went to the communities and, we partnered with all these refugees, the resettlement agencies, and the ladies, who came to cook with us from Iraq, from Syria, from Myanmar, from Afghanistan. They said, Jinya, that's really cute, but we need jobs. And so when the community asks for fire, I cannot bring them water. So I'm an accidental entrepreneur because honestly, I wasn't set up for any of this. I didn't know what I was getting into. I still don't know. But the ladies have been so brave, they said, we have kids, can you help us figure out, something? We can't work in a restaurant, but, can you help us figure things out? And so I said to, get them getting food handlers permits because there's a huge, need for food services here in DFW and really abroad. And because there's over 65 million refugees throughout the world, that there's workforce that needs to be around. And so we set out to get the ladies certified in food manager's license. So if they're interested in starting their own business, they can go on and do that. And next thing I know, we just started a Facebook page and started telling people about things, and by word of mouth, we have catered for United Nations, for Texas Lyceum, for Bush Institute, and it's all across the board. And so it's been really phenomenal just by word of mouth how we're able to make things happen like this, but it's time to scale up because we've had incredible community support, people like you who stepped in and said, hey, I've got a commercial kitchen, you're welcome to use it. Or restaurants that say, hey, I've got, space and I'm not busy in the afternoons and you can come and, operate out of here when you have gigs. But guess what? When they do have gigs, we get booted out. And so, it's the constant, resources of trying to figure out, where to go to next. And I have a day job. I actually work at Fossil as a supply chain packaging manager. I'm also a single mom. And my ex helps out, but it's not quite the same. And so Break Bread, Break Borders is my side hustle, but my main passion. And so I struggle, every day about like, okay, what's the next step? Gosh, do we look for a commercial kitchen that's going to get us a ghost kitchen spot? Or, I'd love for a program manager's help. And most of our ladies also don't speak English very well. And so since food is such a great equalizer, we knew that it was a way to engage people. And so what sets us apart is that it's not just a catering business. The ladies don't just drop off the food. They actually do storytelling before the diners eat. And so it puts a face with the food. And whether they do it in Burmese and Farsi and Arabic, they relate to the people. They talk about their life stories. And so we hope that, with this different business model that, not only that, but the ladies know how to cook gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free. They don't do taste-free, but doing really healthy Mediterranean, Asian diet that that's plant-based, that we can find partnerships out there that sets us apart. And boy, I wish I could have brought food here to share with you because it's cooked with a ton of love. But we didn't want to get like nepotism because of bribery. So, yeah, I. Thank you for this time. Thank you for letting us share our story. And thank you for amplifying a women-led, refugee-run business and helping that voice be heard.
So the first question is, how can the community help you?
Hire us. Anybody that, is, instead of going down the street to Jimmy's Deli, call us. And every bite you take makes everlasting social impact. And every time the women cook, my mom's spirit comes to life. So, yeah.
Okay, so we'll open up for the questions, comments.
I can be a testimony. I've tasted the food. I've attended an event where Break Bread, Break Borders catered the event, and the ladies are awesome. And even if I wasn't able to communicate perfectly when they were storytelling one-on-one with me, you can still feel the emotional connection with the ladies, and then having their food amplifies the entire experience. So definitely very good, and thank you for being here today. Question.
Yes.
Are you guys making money, or are you losing money every month?
We are actually making money because the women are able to make their rent and being able to afford groceries. We've grown twice since 2017. We really started in October of 2017. And honestly, I started thinking I'm just gonna do a couple dinners and that's it. But it turned into this thing. And so they would have been evicted and not being able to buy groceries if we didn't start this. And so when we started this, there are 2 women that have already gone on to do their own catering business. They've been catering for their mosques and running their business, but sustaining the entrepreneurship, that's the hard part, is not having that support. And so they come back for the training, with either culinary consultants or, professional chefs and other catering businesses that we're working with. Would we like to do more? Yes. Could we be doing more? Yes. If I had the capacity, yes. And think about this, because I'm doing this as my part-time job. If I were to devote my full time to this, what that would look like. So I wonder out loud a lot. And there are people who have been asking, but that's one of my struggles is okay, I still gotta be a mom, I can't quit that. But, but my day job, I've always worked for retail. I've been at Neiman's, JCPenney's, and now at Fossil. And that nice paycheck, it feels like, that I don't have to deal with, federal government, furlough, whatever, that kind of thing. And so it's hard to kind of think about that. But if somebody were to hand me a check like they did with Chad Hauser, would I do it? Yes, in a heartbeat, because it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Great presentation.
Yes.
My question, because I know you mentioned word of mouth.
Yes.
Besides that, are you doing any sort of marketing, or is it all just kind of coming through word of mouth?
It's really word of mouth, and the marketing we do is just really on Facebook, and I Instagram about it, and often I tweet, but it's really purely been by word of mouth. And it's been interesting because we're in spaces that people have been normally speak to nonprofits, and but because of all the social justice and social benefit and social cause that we do, that we've been invited to those spaces that only normally nonprofits get into, and they freak out, like Neela, like Isabella, what do you mean you're for profit? It's yeah, people need to work, I've got bills to pay, right? You do too. So why not do this, And the women really love to be able to work for something. They don't want to hand out any more than anybody else, They don't want to get on food stamps. They want to you should see the first time when they get that paycheck, that sense of empowerment that they get, and people loving their food. I was raised Buddhist, and so most of the women we work with are Muslim. And our chefs, from Nona and Mixed Kitchen have been of Christian faith. And one of our favorite places that we catered at is Temple Emmanuel. So that sounds like a setup for a joke, but it's not. It seriously is that is the, if that doesn't spell diversity and inclusion, I don't know what does. And so we talk about a lot about, racial gender equity in our space too. Like we're actually a social entrepreneur over at SMU Institute who's helping us gather data about all this. And and we get to talk to different people about, it's about investing in like not just social, financial, but human capital. And that's the thing that people are like holding on to, because, I really didn't set out to like make a business, make money. I really wanted to set out to make something right, like my mom did. And that was what we started out with, is the why. I wanted to honor my mom, and that's been the focus. And this business has been really set up as how she would have operated this. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Virginia.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, oh, you good? I will not reintroduce myself. So, by the way, I think starting with right and why and that kind of purpose, if you start there, then your opportunities are, tremendous, of course.
Thank you.
I saw something when you whizzed through your material.
Yes.
Did you say something about Victory Meadow?
Yes.
Are you based there?
The women we work with are actually in Victory Meadow.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, because that is the most diverse part of Dallas.
Yes.
And I don't know if like a group like, is it Hope House that operates over there?
Yes, Heart House.
Heart House.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. If you're partnering with them to find some of these
Yes,
amazing women chefs and
yes, and
they're all refugees, right? So,
totally, yeah. And we've actually been trying to figure out how we can actually cater for the kids there, because right now they're actually getting free food from the government, but it's sandwiches that the kids don't know how to eat because it's not their ethnic food.
It's not their food.
No, but the challenge is they're getting it for free, and then when they get it from us, cost of $3.54 doesn't sound so great. And so we've been trying to figure out how we can fundraise and do that and actually get the kids like a nutritious meal and really like feed their heart, body, and soul.
Okay, great, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Continue
Yes,
good luck.
I will need it, and like lots of mentors, please. Yes, and you had a question. Yes.
Is catering the only thing you guys do, or is there an
No.
opportunity because like I don't want to eat your food?
Yes. So the catering just has been like the best model so far, but the ladies actually are private cooks, so they can come to your home and do this, or they've held like cooking classes, at commercial kitchens, and so if you can round up enough people, like we are happy to. We've taught like how to make cookies and things like that. Cookies is my main meal. I just give like I have to go straight to the dessert. Yeah, that's my language. But so that yeah, there's other ways, and we're always brainstorming. Like next month, we're actually going to lecture at the Human Rights and Ethics program over at SMU, and like we're going to be talking to college and graduate students about all kinds of stuff, and like that's not going to be the only way that you get to experience the food. It's not just going to a dinner. You can commission it in all different ways, and the ladies can come. And yeah. Oh, so my aunt and uncle's a Chinese restaurant. It was called Egg Roll Express. So if anybody's like been around Dallas long enough, that there were about 4 franchises here, and oh, okay, so we were in Tulsa. Oh my gosh, 谢谢你，真的很感恩。Yeah, so Tulsa actually was, yeah, 你说得很好 yeah, 你说的国语比我好。So yeah, like my parents, like they didn't know the language, and so like going to Tulsa, Oklahoma was challenging, but but that we had probably about 5 franchises there, and there were some in Arkansas, some in Kansas, and and then some here in Dallas. They were all over the Southwest. They made all the money. My parents just kind of got a franchise, and we got through school. It's all good. But yeah, but it's like opportunities like that, like the American dream, right? Like my parents did, like just went to elementary school and high school. They didn't get to go to college, but all 6 of our girls did. And so that's really mostly what the women want, all the refugee women that we work with want. And so it's like, you hear these stories, it's like no different than your neighbor. So we're just doing the neighborly thing. Yeah, thanks. Yes?
Hi,
Hey.
I have 2 questions and advice.
Yes.
So the question is, how much are you raising? and how you plan to spend that money. And the advice is, you did an amazing job, I believe, in the presentation. You know, it was very emotional and very easy to connect with you. If you're trying to raise money, you know, probably you don't, some people here might be investors and they might be interested in seeing the pitch.
Yes.
And you skip the full pitch, right?
Yes.
So the presentation was great either way, but sometimes people do need to see some data
Yes.
about the business and the progress that they made. So
Thank you.
those are my questions.
Yes, I need you to come and help me with that part. That's the thing, so thank you so much. Yes.
How much are you raising?
Yes, I'm sorry, the question was?
How much are you raising?
How much am I raising? Okay, so right now, the basis, if we can just raise $15,000 to get into a commercial kitchen, we can actually get more business that's more sustainable. So there's a place called, there's food subscription places like Territory Foods, and DCCCD wants us to be approved vendor, but we need a permanent space, you know, to actually get into that. And then there's possibilities of if we could get, you know, another $15,000 to get a program manager to help me with this kind of finance stuff that I'm not comfortable crunching numbers and saying, here's, you know, we had 200% growth from 2017, and, you know, we need just, you know, $50,000 to get us to the next step, and, you know, like things like that contrary to popular opinions, I'm Asian, but I did not excel in math or science in school. So, like, I'd love for that program manager to be that voice of reason, and, you know, and not have to, like, you know, and be more confident about presenting those financial statistics, you know, and crunch those numbers for us. And so it makes more sense for people who want to invest, you know. I just am much better at the, you know, invest here in the story first, and then if there is really, you know, a partnership, maybe we can talk, you know, and that's kind of the next spot. And obviously, if we had an e-commerce website that could streamline a lot of this ordering process, that would help too. So, but yes, 50 grand in total just to get started. That would be the amazing seed funding that we would love.
Okay, we have time for a couple
Sure.
more questions.
Okay,
We have one in
yes.
front
Hi.
here.
Thank you for presenting. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it. I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Do you have any long-standing catering things that like people do once a month or something like that? Do you guys have any like routine, contracts or anything like that with people?
That's what we're trying to get, yeah, because we've had repeat customers like maybe every like 2 to 3 months, you know, but not like every month. And Territory Foods and Dallas County Community College, those are the kind of spaces that, you know, that have been saying, gosh, we love your food and we'd love for you to cater for us on a consistent basis, because we're catering to gyms that eat healthy, or, you know, or schools want plant-based diet, you know, things like that. And but we need a commercial kitchen to be in, so we don't get booted out at our commercial kitchens, and that's why part of the 50 grand would really kind of get us started to be in a spot, and once we make that money, we can, you know, keep it rolling, hopefully. Yes.
My last question is,
Yes.
Do you guys do Mediterranean, like, how diverse is your menu?
Right now, the cooks from Syria are training the cooks from Afghanistan, and then we have a proctor that's been giving them the food manager license exams, and she's from Bangladesh. So that's the range of our menu right now. And the women don't cook anything else other than their ethnic food. We're not asking them to change that. They're sharing that, their food and culture, and that storytelling. And so, but the range of that is very diverse. Like, if you thought you had tasted hummus, like, no. Like, once I mean, that homemade and, you know, and like home-baked, you know, pastries and things like that, you just don't know until you taste it. And, but you get an idea, but there's a really wide range, but you just need to be given the opportunities to cook, really, yeah. So, thank you, Amber. Okay, awesome questions. Okay,
We have
anything
time
else?
for one more question
Okay,
here.
yes.
Actually, it's a comment / question. Have you heard of Next Seed? Next Seed?
Next Seed, I think they were doing the whole market and, right? All women entrepreneurs.
No, so Next Seed is the company that helps restaurants to raise funds.
Okay. No, then
I wish I would have thought about this before.
Yes.
I could have connected you with them a long time ago. But anyways, something about the present is probably the right time.
Okay.
So what they do is they look at the community, and the community helps to, that's kind of like a crowdfunding,
Okay.
but they really do focus just on restaurants. They've done a lot of truck,
Oh, food truck business.
truck
Okay, cool.
businesses.
Okay.
But there's a chance that they may be interested in yours, so I'd love to make the connection for you.
Please. Yes.
Yeah, because $50,000 is not too big of an ask, and I think you can get there with the right
Okay.
marketing and the right people.
I mean, that's just the beginning. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jinya, and we're going to give you a one-way cups tumbler. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I think we're past that. Thank you. Yes. There you go.
All right, thank you so much for being here for 1 Million Cups today. You can follow us on all the social medias, and if you have taken pictures today or want to upload something, please try to use our hashtag so we can find your posts and see what you're saying about us. 1 Million Cups couldn't happen without all of the volunteers, the whole team here. If you're on the team, raise your hand. You've seen us running around doing all kind of stuff. So thank you for the team for working together cooperatively. All right, and we also want to thank Isabel for her time here at 1 Million Cups. Isabel, do you mind coming to the stage and saying a few words? Thank you to everybody. I haven't had a chance to meet everyone here today, but I usually try to connect with as many people as possible from week to week. I love this community. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, and have worked with the people at the deck and Capital Factory through the transition of working out of the West End and then transitioning over here, and a lot of support. So definitely want to say thank you all for being here, and I hope that the community continues to grow. We are going through a transition. I want to say hello to Jessica, and I'll welcome her to the stage as well. I've been in the lead role for, as I said, a year and something, and Jessica's going to transition. She's going to take over, keep this chapter moving forward. A lot of exciting things are to come. I'm going because I'm having a baby, and just hoping I don't deliver right now. You would all help me though, right? It would be a community experience. So Jessica launched the Frisco chapter more than a year ago, and when I knew I had to step out of this role, I wanted her to step in because she's very well known. A lot of people know her. She has a lot to contribute to the community. She is a lawyer. So anyway, that matters. That's not a negative. That's so positive. And she's very well connected, is also involved with Startup Dallas Week as well. So I know that I'm leaving you in great hands. Plus, the team that I've been working with for the past however many months has been great too, and they understand the background. And also want to let you know that this is all about volunteering, and this is about the community, helping the community. So we always want to know what's working for you guys and what's not working, and how we can all do things better together. So from time to time, we might have asks from you. And then you might have asks from us, because remember, we're volunteers, so we're just like you, right? If you guys are showing up and you're attending a great event, we're making sure that it happens. But we might have an ask one day that, hey, we need help with graphics. Does anybody in here do graphics? Or does anybody in here work for an audio-visual company? We need new mics, or something like that, right? And all the communities operate the same across the US. So thank you for having me be here and host you guys. Thanks to Monica, thank you to Michael, thank you, Humdan is who's new, he's joining the team. And the rest of my team that's not here today, but Jessica, thank you. I am passing the torch to you. All yours.
Well, thank you. I don't know that anyone can really fill your shoes. It is true. Isabel's done a great job for the last year and a half being lead organizer. So thank you for everything that you've done. It's a lot of work to be lead organizer. I don't think people always realize what goes on behind the scenes, but Isabel has done a lot of work in the transition and growing this chapter and making it something great, along with the rest of the team. So we are sad to see you go. Your baby's always welcome here. Family friendly. We're a family friendly 1 million cups. I don't know that you want me babysitting personally, so don't leave the baby with me, but someone else here will watch it, I'm sure. No, but honestly, Isabel's done great things, so thank you. I have high hopes. It's not just me, so Launch DFW is also going to be doing some things with the chapter that will be announced later today, so be on the lookout for that. We're excited to bring them on as a marketing partner. Michael, this is also your last week, yeah? This week is Michael's, oh, just kidding, we have one more week. I'm already off to a strong start. Organizing is my strong suit. Okay, well next week we'll thank you, you'll get a slide. But yeah, the rest of the team is still going to be here and still hanging on, so I have no doubts that it'll be a seamless transition because they're pros and they know what they're doing. So even if Jasmine and I don't, they'll pick up the slack, man, it'll be fine. But yeah, yes, Rod is also on the team. So yeah, we're excited to have you. I'm excited to meet all of you. If I haven't met you already, I know a lot of you, but feel free to come up and say hi, or I'll come say hi, I love to. Yeah, other than that, I think we're good, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.